Because my parents were here, so that was the same weekend y'all were
You
gone.
tell me when, and I'll
Pretty
here.
good. I'm always like, it's so green. It's because Texas is down
I know, yeah.
dirt, you know, outside of Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
Just nothing.
Plenty.
And they never get any rain.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the Wastewater Committee meeting to order. It's Monday the 6th, and it is 7:04 p.m. Can we all stand, please? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for gathering us here today. Help us to make sound decisions that help the constituents of James Island. As we put together a committee and I chair this committee with Wastewater, please help us to make the decisions that's best for all the constituents here on the island. Let us brainstorm together and make this work for the better. In your name, I ask for these blessings. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have Freedom of Information Act, please?
In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of this meeting and its agenda were provided to all news media and persons requesting notification.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Grant,
Yes.
Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Woolsey,
Yes.
Commissioner Clifford.
Here.
Okay, if we can have Mr. Bob George, the project engineer, to come up and speak with us about the service agreement, the status update for the LPSS sewer service extension with the Up on the Hill and the Oak Point communities.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to each one of y'all tonight. I am your main entree, so to speak. What I'd like to do, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to start and just give y'all a brief overview of where the whole project stands, the RA project. Y'all may recall about a year ago, we started this project, and it was Oak Point, Up on the Hill, and Clark's Point subdivision. And it's important that I go through a few numbers, and I hope you don't mind, but Clark's Point is by far the largest. And in Clark's Point, there are 185 lots. 178 of them own septic tanks. The key points to remember here are of that 178, 157 are in the town of James Island. 21 are in the city of Charleston. And up on the hill, there's only a total of 13 lots. 10 lots are developed on septic tanks. 5 of them are in the county, in the PSD service area, but not in the town. 5 of them are in the city of Charleston. In Oak Point, there are 15 total lots. 11 of those are currently on septic tanks. 8 of those are in the town of James Island. 4 are in the city of Charleston. We have worked with Joanne and with Lydia Owens with Charleston CPW for a little bit over a year to try to get the people in Clark's Point, Oak Point, and we started out in Up on the Hill as well. But Clark's Point, if y'all remember, initially we were going to do a low pressure system in Clark's Point, and we amended that contract to go to a gravity system, a total gravity system. That, to give you an update there, we have the Highway Department's permit, we have DHEC's permit to construct, we have the Coastal Zone Consistency permit. We only have one major permit left out in order to bid that project. The drawings and project manual are currently at RIA right now being reviewed before they would give their concurrence to bid the project. With respect to the other two, we have tried, the district has tried, and the city of Charleston has tried everything but physical arm twisting to get people in those enclaves to be willing to sign up for sewer service. In Oak Point that you're looking at right now, a lot of y'all that are familiar with James Island probably know the Welch family. The Welch family, and I'm going to use this one. The Welch family basically, they own this, and they pretty much control all this. So either the family owns it directly or the relatives do. 1 year's work, there's only one lot that has signed an agreement, and that one's in the city. This one, right here. These are the Frampton properties. They're in the city. They don't want to get in. So we've got the Framptons. There's only 5 apiece in here for the district and County James Island. So what we're looking at is that they're not coming in. They're not coming in. We only got one person to sign an agreement right now, and that's in the city of Charleston. And I can tell you, we've been working real hard with Lydia Owens and CPW. They've been trying, but it just hadn't worked. If you could flip to up on the hill. Up on the hill is even a greater challenge. And up on the hill, the same amount of time, what you're looking at in, I'd say green, those are in the county. They're not in the town. All that are in blue are in the city of Charleston. Of all of those that you're looking at that could tie in, there's only one lot, and that's this one. And it's a vacant lot. So all the effort that both James Island and Joanne's worked hard, I've worked hard with John and Steve that y'all have retained to help. We've worked real hard to try to talk to these people. We've met with these people physically out there trying to do what we can. And we are at a standstill. That's another complication. The city of Charleston will provide $2,500 to their customers to tie in. That is the total of their incentive payment. The city of Charleston also will not require their customers to tie in. They don't have a mandatory use ordinance. So other than $2,500, which won't cover their tap and impact fees and surely won't cover connecting to the house sewer or abandoning the septic tank, that's all they would get in the city. James Island, town of James Island, and this is where Tamara and I have talked, and I'll just tell you, there's a little bit of thin ice right here. Y'all may recall that the town of James Island got a $1 million grant. And I'll read an excerpt from that grant. That grant was for the purpose of providing sewer service within the town of James Island. And there's a paragraph I'm going to read directly from that grant. Whereas the town council adopted by majority vote this agreement with funds from the town budget appropriation to reimburse the district on behalf of owners for tap fees, impact fees, and the costs associating with abandonment of septic tanks and the subsequent connection to and installation of the lines to the district's utility system. That pretty much covers everything when you think about it. If you were to only look at the 157, and this is where the ice gets thin, if you were only looking at 157 people in Clark's Point, and that $1 million that the town has in accordance with the ordinance was set aside just for tap impact fees, connection, and abandonment of septic tanks, that's over $15,000 a pop. That is one very large, very significant incentive to tie in. Clark's Point, we're going to provide a sewer service right to the property line for everybody in there. Assuming the town will reimburse the district for those costs that that ordinance says are included, those people are going to really get a good deal. They're going to get the line from the district's tie-in point, the elder valve, the plumbing all the way to the house, and abandon the septic tank according to that ordinance. That particular paragraph I read out of that. We got a choice to make, and I say we. The district has a choice to make. I have talked with Mark Klein with CPW, and I've talked with Jackie Taylor, who is our project manager with RIA, and we're at a point where it's just not cost effective to continue with these two small projects. With no grinder pump at all installed in any of them, don't put any grind pump, just put in the transmission line that would pick it up and the service and all. We're talking about approximately $350,000 each. You're surely not going to serve one person for that. You're probably not going to serve 2 or 3. You might serve 5. You might can make an argument for 5. But we don't have 5. We've got 1. And we don't have any way to give the people in up on the hill an incentive. There's no money there to give to them unless the district would come up with some additional funds. The opposition in up on the hill is not nearly as bad as it is in Oak Point with the Frampton Enclave and the Welch Enclave. We're at a no, we're not going to go kind of position with those people. They just said no, they don't want it. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense from an engineering perspective. And I've talked to Tim Mueller, he's here, and we've finished the easement plat. He could go ahead and get the easements that we need for up on the hill. We could put that line in, we could design it. We've got preliminary engineering already done, but it just doesn't make any economical sense to proceed with these projects with the lack of support we have. Now, what do we do? The big we. Having talked to Jackie Taylor with RIA, if the district makes the decision not to go ahead with these two small projects, we would amend the grant again. Just a fairly simple process. Amend the grant to drop these two from the service area, but, and here's the big but, we want to keep every penny that we got. We don't want to give up any money because in the last year, material costs, labor costs, and competition, we got all this money from RIA hitting all over the state at one time. Everybody wants the same materials. They want the same sewer pipe. They want the same manholes. Everybody wants the same equipment to put it in. Asphalt, rock, everything. It's just all the prices are going up. So we want to keep every bit of money we can and not give a penny back to RIA, or if there is a stipulation, I would say not until the end of the project where we used every bit we need to. But that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are at a point where if you like country music and you've ever listened to Kenny Rogers, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. That's where we are. I don't know. I'll be glad to answer any question. I can go into a whole lot of detail. But we are at a rock and a hard place, and we just got to make a decision.
What options do we have?
Excuse me?
What options do we have?
Well, that's a good point. The options are to go ahead and at least design and permit and bid the main collector line in up on the hill to serve one vacant lot. That's what we got. We don't have any incentive to give to any of the other customers. We can't, there's not a penny out there we can give them. CPW could give them $2,500 apiece. But there's no money for the town. They're not in the town. And the district, unless the district came up with the money, can't use grant funds.
CPW or City of Charleston?
Excuse me?
CPW or the city of Charleston for that 2,500?
Yes, ma'am. It's really it's CPW. Yeah, it's CPW 2,500.
A lot of the folks on up on the hill are county.
Excuse me?
A lot of the folks on up on the hill are in unincorporated Charleston County.
All that you see that are green are in the county.
Okay,
All that you see in blue are in the city of Charleston.
okay.
And how many, city of Charleston, is it 5?
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Yes, ma'am. 5 and
That's
5.
10, so what about the other 3 lots then? So are those vacant?
There's vacant lots. There's lots in there that are wetlands,
Yep.
primarily these. And guess where 526 is coming?
No need
Right
to-
there.
Yep.
Right through there. So,
So we have to utilize the $1 million. I know that's not an option. So what you're saying basically is that with the use of the $1 million, we're only gonna destroy the minimal properties.
well, no, see, the minimum, Mr. Ladson, the $1 million is not ours. The $1 million is the town of James Island. But the $1 million, the town passed an ordinance to obligate that money to be spent for sewer connections for people in the town who own septic tanks. And the good thing about that money, it's not time limited. The grant is time limited. If we don't spend every penny of that grant by June 1st of 2026, it's gone. But the $1 million is there. And let's just take Clark's Point for a second. Clark's Point is going to take about a year and a half to build, and we want to get that thing out for bids as fast as we can to beat that wave of other projects crashing down in the third quarter all over the state. So we want to get that project underway and built. But once we put those service connections in right at the right of way, then as people tie in, the way the ordinance reads, and again, this is the thin ice part of it. I'm just, what the King's English, what it says is that the district will be reimbursed for the cost to tie the tap and impact fees, connection fees, abandonment of the septic tank, pretty much the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying they're going to give you $15,000 for each one, but whatever it costs, I think if the district were to provide them a bill for each one, and each one's going to be different because each one's going to involve something else. But the good thing about that is that the district will have put this gravity system in there, and the money is there to reimburse those people to tie into the district system. And it will have fulfilled the goal of the town to get people off of septic tanks and not contribute to pollution of the James Island watershed. Yes, ma'am.
So in Clark's Point, that's also where they're gonna build, probably, we're gonna need another pump station, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and
So we got that. And
Yes,
then,
ma'am.
So, I'm kind of like with you, I mean, you're basically saying, hey, y'all, here's $15,000.
What's wrong?
I mean, maybe money's not a problem for these people that live down that road or something, but what about Charleston water keepers? Have they tried to solicit them and go, or is there anything we can do to make people that have them, get them inspected and see who is leaking into the
well,
creek?
unfortunately, that's beyond our collective pay grade. I would tell you that that's on DHEC's back.
All right.
If you've been reading the paper lately, there was an article, there's been 3 that I can think of. One very recently about a couple that bought a house and the sewer was overflowing, and DHEC made them spend, what, $15,000 or something like that. There really does need to be some state legislation passed, and it really, the pressure, I can't tell you what, but there's a couple of subdivisions in Berkeley County where I'm an expert witness, and it is a nightmare. 2 brand new subdivisions, a nightmare. You don't even want to think about it. Happily, I'm on a side that's going to lose. But it's just, the problem that we've got is we can't go out there and twist these people's arms and make them sign an agreement that they don't want to sign. And the basic problem is, they're saying, and the Welch family, I've known them a long time, Bubba and Sissy,
I mean, just to be clear, is this Rod Welch's kin?
yeah.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
asking.
No, they're
because,
all related.
there's a lot of Welches. No, there's a lot of Welches.
Yeah.
Pat Welch lives
They're- yeah,
over on
they're-
Stono. There's a lot of Welches.
Yeah, they're distant relatives, they're all.
Okay, but distant relatives, I mean, I just want you to be clear.
Yeah, but they're distantly related.
Okay.
But they
But, I mean,
just,
just to also be clear, Rod Welch's father was district manager for a long time.
Uh,
Rod
believe
Welch
me, I
was on
know.
the No, but I just, for those who
yeah,
don't.
I was
Rod Welch
chairman of
on-
the commission when Rob was
And,
district
and
director.
Rod Welch was on the commission for
Right,
many, many
he
years.
was. Wonderful gentleman, too. But the problem is that these people will tell you point blank, if you could prove to me that my septic tank was the one contributing to the creek that I've swam in all my life and my kids swim in, I'd sign in. But the problem is, you really can't prove, unless you could probably spend a whole lot of money doing soil testing and ground monitoring wells and all like that to trace the fecal coliform path. And
Well, Mr. George, can I ask you this?
far away.
This location has the worst data for the most number of years in terms of waterkeeper checking the pollution level. This is our worst issue, is right here by the bridge, by Lowe's. And what can we do, or what can anyone do for the couple of people who have advocated this so long, for this so long and so hard with Waterkeeper, with elected officials, with so many? Can they get a grinder pump? The couple that, the couple of folks that do want them,
Well, we have
what
to.
can be done for them?
We have to give them something to tie in. Could you put the screen back up for Oak Point? The problem with Oak Point is that if you start at the corner up here where it turns green, this is State Highway Department, right here.
Okay,
From here around is problem.
okay.
It's owned by the Welch family.
Well, where are these Sealanders? Because they're a big issue. This family. Sealander
Give me a
is very
tax-
opposed, I hear.
Tax map number.
Tax map number, they have several. 009, 011, 012, 06.
It's 9 and 11.
06 is Sealander.
Right, 06 right here.
11 and 12, I mean, I have heard the Sealanders are very opposed. So,
What
I
are you
mean, it's
gonna-
not just the Welches.
No, it's not. What are you
Okay.
gonna do? I'm just saying that,
But I'm just saying, for the couple of folks who want it right there, can you describe to me you're saying we would have to install, what would we have to do?
about $350,000 worth of work.
Okay, even for a city resident, that would be, the onus would be on us.
That's right.
And
That's part of the grant.
So CWS can't do that prep work because they didn't get the grant
That's right.
that we got.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's why I'm here tonight. And that's the quandary that we're
I would
presented
be-
to.
I mean, I'm not on the committee, but I would be for spending the $350,000 to lay in what we need to lay, because all those people may leave if 526 comes in. I
Oh,
mean, they're
no,
already being-
526 won't hit them.
Well, it's close, it's awfully close.
526 come through here.
It's close enough to really make your life miserable.
It's pretty horrible.
So,
All I can tell you is,
Harris Teeter's gonna move because of 526. We've already heard that. If that
let
happens.
me ask you this. How long have they been talking about 526?
I agree.
In my Charleston High School 1962 annual, in the flyover, when you open it, they were talking about the Outer Belt
Well,
Freeway.
you're the one who wanted to fix the terminus.
The what?
You're the one who had wanted to
Point
fix
of order, please.
Fix what?
the terminus at
Point of
Calhoun
order.
and Courtney.
Point of order. Back.
yes, I have a question. So,
ma'am.
they just, the ones who won't commit, Is it because they feel they're not spilling or doing anything? Is that the only reason, or is it also they don't want to be responsible for paying anything?
Well, it's three reasons. One, the first one is you hit it. They don't feel like that they are directly the one causing the problem. Number two, what they're looking at is having to tie in at additional expense that they don't have. And if it's a CPW grinder pump, it's going to be $100 a month. If it's a James Allen grinder pump, it's going to be about $90 a month. They're not paying that now.
Right.
And I'm not telling you that you need to have empathy for people, but you put yourself in their shoes and you can understand why. And we had 2 meetings at the church, and we heard a lot of people stand up. And they just flat said, I'm not the one causing the problem. I'm not going to tie in. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to put a chain around them and drag them down the road? We can't do that. We've run, unless y'all tell me something that I don't know, we've run out of ways to try to get these people to tie in. Clark's Point's a little different. Up on the hill is going to be a hard nut to crack because there's no money you can give to those people, none whatsoever. That from James Allen's perspective, CPW $2,500. But here we are. Do you want to spend $350,000 to serve 1 or 2 people? Decision really is not ours to make. The final decision is the RIA's decision to make. They have a dog in the fight.
Can I get you to finish your thought with going down Oak Point Road to a point? We can't build on that private land without their permission.
Here's what we
Is that
could
you're
do, and Mr. Muir was here. We could condemn this easement right here. If you be down here,
Condemn
tell
it.
you could condemn that easement. We could put this line in. We could pick up the Tarrant property. You can run this line down here to that point right there. This is really expensive work. You got to drill under the road to tie in the force main over here. You could do that, but when the money runs out at June 1st, 2026, who's going to pay for the grinder pump? Who's going to pay to run the sewer line from the road tie-in, the little grinder pump line, to where the grinder pump is, and who's going to tie into the septic tank influent line and then abandon the septic tank? The money's not there.
The question is, I guess the follow-on question is, once that line's there, their choice goes away, does it not? Because it's within 300 feet. I don't.
Go ahead.
I
Yep.
hate to force
Yes, sir.
people's hands. And
That's why you get the big bucks sitting in that chair.
One side, I don't want to force people's hands, but on the other hand, you're
That's,
forcing people's hands.
you
'cause
have the absolute right, the PSD has the absolute authority to make those people tie in.
Because their
No
septic
question.
tanks, if they're not failing now, they are going to
That's
fail.
good thinking,
It's
Paul.
it's an inevitability.
Yeah,
And
that's
you're-
what happened.
That was really good thinking.
It's not when, it's not if, it's when. They're going to fail. If they're not failing now.
I don't doubt that a second. Believe me, I agree
I
with you.
understand the decision process. I don't want this bill, but you're gonna have to pay 20 grand to fix your septic tank at some point.
20, more
They
like
have to be
30.
proactive.
At the moment, it's 20.
Yeah.
So
We have made
I know you've
every
made this
one of
argument
those
very
arguments
clearly.
to those people out there.
I'm sure you have.
We have tried. The district has hired 2 real fine negotiators, real estate negotiators, to go out there and meet with these people. I have met with them and those people. And, you know, it's like trying to talk to a doorknob. What are you going to do when you just know that you have absolutely hit a wall?
What was the third reason? You said it was actually 3. You mentioned, of course, they're
The
not
second
directly-
reason was the cost of tie-in in addition to the tap and impact fee. The third one, and probably the biggest one, is the monthly payment.
monthly payment.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I missed it.
No, it's fine.
I just want to ask, are you kind of asking the committee to make a recommendation for the district to revise the grant specifics and bring that to the full commission?
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Okay.
And the reason I'm asking that is because We've talked to CPW about this, and they're of the same opinion that we're barking up a tree.
Okay.
And if, yes, ma'am.
So we tried to do it the nice way.
Yes, ma'am.
So now the nice way is not working. So the other thing that we can do is to condemn that easement and then make it happen.
We could condemn the easement and put the system in, and the district could send them a letter after 90 days and say, service is available, you've got 90 days to tie in. The district could do that.
Okay.
The district doesn't have the money to buy the pump unless you find it. And you're going to force these people to spend $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. The pump alone costs $15,000, not counting putting it in. You're looking at maybe $20,000, $25,000. That you talk about three things that they're going to be angry about. There's a big number four.
Yes.
Because the money is on, if we could find a grant to do it. Right now, the RIA grant would pay for that. That's the saddest part of this whole thing. The RIA grant would pay for the grinder pump, it'd pay for the small force main out to the collector force main, pay for the collector force main. But even they realize that there's a point where cost effectiveness has to be considered. If we put the system in, and Mr. Cantrell, this goes to your question as well. If we put the system in now, put it in, go ahead and get it in the ground. The next shoe to fall is the district sending them a letter and saying, you got to tie in. And if it's after June 1st, or I will back that up. I will tell you, if it's before October, November of 2025, you can forget it, because you got to design it and put it in the ground.
Ms. Grant,
Yes.
this is going to be unprecedented, okay? If you can have an open mind. Ashley Brown happens to be here tonight. I did not ask her to come. No, she teaches kayaking at the College of Charleston and has for many years. She is in the creeks all the time. Can we just hear from her? I mean, do you see what do you see? Do you kayak this area?
I kayak all over the place, and I take students all over the place, and we check water keepers, and we avoid the Ellis Island area. We just don't go there.
Because of the reports?
Because of the poor water quality, because of the consistently poor water quality.
Okay.
I don't personally do any water testing.
Okay.
But,
I just know you're in these waters
yeah,
a lot.
We do pick up garbage, but, because we get into some places that most people can't get. But, I just avoid that area.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Grant.
No, it's fine. Ben, it's a committee and not a commission. I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, please.
I make a motion that we drop Oak Point and Up the Hill Road projects and get the grant amended.
Second. I can't second. I'm the tiebreaker. I can't.
So
second.
you want to drop them?
Yes.
So that would be not spend the $350,000 to put the line in? Did it get a second?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just.
Mr. George, how do you feel about that?
He wants to drop it, that's why I said.
You know, I wish that we could have people who, they're nice people, really are. They're good people, and they have beautiful homes there. And I wish we could have more cooperation, I really do. And you would think that with a noble cause like this is, it's a very noble, very worthwhile, but very public serving cause. I grew up in Charleston, I'm sure we all did. I swam in Charleston Harbor before there was a treatment plant, so back in those days. But there comes a time when people need to make decisions that are uncomfortable to make. And the options are not attractive. None of these options are attractive. Not doing this is not a very attractive option. It's a bad option. Going ahead and doing it and justifying spending $350,000, $400,000 in Oak Point and then the same amount in Up on the Hill, you got to defend that decision. I'm not going to have to defend that decision. I'll do what I'm told.
Unless the money was available.
Yes, sir. And the problem with Up on the Hill is the district doesn't have money to give those people as an incentive, and they're not in the town.
Okay, but Up on the Hill Road and Oak Point is part of the big ARPA grant from the state. They are included. I understand that these folks don't get the incentive that the town got from their separate earmark money.
I understand that.
I mean, I'm just making
Yeah,
that
that's
point.
sure. I
So
made that point earlier.
Right,
The same
just
point.
theoretically, the $350,000 line, which you're now saying is twice, so it would be $700,000?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And-
I could give you a little bit more detail if you want.
Theoretically, that would come out of the, what did we get, 8 or 10 million?
We got almost 9. And the point is that, and you may have heard me mention this before, we would like to drop those, but the argument would be the money would remain the same because the cost of doing this kind of work is increasing. So that money would be, I'm not sure the word diverted is a good word to do, but in reality, it would be diverted to Clark's Point.
In my mind, Up on the Hill Road is throwing good money after nothing. I feel like Oak Point, an argument can be made both ways, and I don't know which way to go.
I'm torn with it too. I don't want to not proceed, but it's hard because I don't want the district, I don't want the money wasted. And after a certain time, if they don't have the money, it was wasted.
It won't be wasted. Ms. Grant, I can assure you it won't be wasted because that money will be going into Clark's Point. The problem is that these decisions are going to have to be made. My job is to present the facts to you as they are, as best as I can. And I'm speaking not just for myself, I'm speaking for CPW, because we've had these discussions with them. I'm speaking for your staff and your other consultants, that we've all looked this thing hard in the face. And short of putting chains on them and dragging them to sign, you just can't do it. And the final decision, if y'all tell us to go ahead and design these systems, bang, we can do it. No question. Easy to do. These are relatively simple, straightforward little projects when you get right down to it. We can get it done. Got to get it done quick enough to where they would be totally completed with a certificate of, well, it's a permit to operate by June 1st of 2026. We could easily design them. As an engineering firm, I can assure you we can do that. In my own mind, I can tell you it's not cost effective because I've sat where you're sitting. I've sat in other places where I've had to make the same kind of decisions. It's not cost effective. As bad a decision as it is. Oh boy, I hate to do it. I really hate to do it, but you got to face reality. You just got to look, and y'all are going to have to justify it, not me.
So there's a motion on the floor without a second, is that correct?
Yes.
I'd like to amend my motion. I would like to just drop Up the Hill Road.
I'll second that.
That's a good idea.
Can you restate that, please, for the record? What's the
I make a motion that we drop Up the Hill Road and have the grant amended, am I saying this right, to take that into account.
RIA would still include Oak Point.
Do I have a second, so for discussion purposes?
Yeah.
Yes. Paul, did you second?
I did.
Okay, so can we have discussion? So, with the committee first, anything?
Well, I feel like, I mean, if you want to go first, you're welcome to.
Well, it doesn't make sense. You're not getting anywhere with one vacant lot right there, and it is a long way up.
No incentive to give them to
Yeah,
tie in.
no
There's
incentive.
there's no carrot for that.
But, you know, I feel like, I'm a firm believer there are oceans are rising and our land is sinking, and these people are gonna be in big trouble in about 20 years. And you know what? They had their chance. And, so,
But you want to, you want to keep in the line that would give Oak Point the ability in the grant? in the
yeah, keep
ARPA?
Oak Point in it for right now. We can
Okay.
still drop it later if we want.
We'd have to start design of it and acquiring easements right away.
Yeah. you
And
can make work.
Mr. Miller can speak to that, but we'd need to get the easements in there. We've already talked about that. We would need to go ahead and proceed. We've done some preliminary engineering as far as locating utilities in the ground and all. We could very easily go ahead and design it. Like I say, it's not a problem to design it. We could drop off the service connections wherever we need to drop them off to serve every lot in there. I would recommend that before you were to continue the line down toward the bridge by the 3 Frampton properties, that the city of Charleston would have some say-so in it. Because they're putting $85,000 in it. It's not a lot of money, but they are.
So would our next committee or commission meeting, full commission, May 20th, would that be soon enough, or do we need to have a special meeting to get this going like now?
Because we're just voting, and then it goes to the
Yeah, then it's
next.
gotta go to full commission at May 20th unless we elect to have a special meeting that I can call at any time as long as it complies with FOIA.
Because that's 2 weeks.
If you don't mind me speaking my mind,
Yes, sir.
which I do frequently, I think that the results of this meeting tonight would precipitate discussions with CPW, because they have a dog in the fight. If you look at up on the hill, they have a much bigger dog in the fight as far as the people they could get. Because we can't offer them anything, they can offer them something. So that would be one, and I would want to talk to CPW about the wisdom of spending that money to go down Folly to pick up the Frampton property that they've stated absolutely no interest in the project. And that would just be to serve CPW customers. Then the other issue I said about the thin ice, what I think needs to happen is that there needs to be a little bit more communication, and this needs to be worked out with the town ahead of time to make sure that when those people in Oak Point are told that they would have an incentive to tie in, that they would know what that incentive would cover without question.
There's a motion on the floor with a second. Any further discussion? It's her meeting.
Any other discussion?
Grant?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is gonna seem like a rabbit trail, but it really isn't, okay, I promise. As you know, behind the new Realty building, they're gonna put in townhomes.
Know all about it.
How are those gonna be on, okay, do y'all know what I'm talking about? In the town of James Island, behind the new, is it Coldwell Banker? Or it's
One right there,
Carolina
Ellis
One?
Creek.
Carolina One.
Whatever.
Carolina One has the new,
Yes.
but you go ahead and talk about it.
Right here.
Okay, so it's served by sewer?
Yes, ma'am.
That was my question.
This building is served by sewer, the lines are already in to serve it.
Okay, that was my question.
Commissioner Latson, did you have something?
I know, I was just trying to move the meeting forward.
Okay.
He's got better things to do.
No further discussion. I appreciate everything.
Are we gonna vote?
We're gonna vote, oh, yes, we're gonna vote to move it to the full commission.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. We appreciate your
Appreciate it.
time.
Well,
Well, you have to,
Y'all need to vote.
Okay.
I only vote in the event of a tie.
Yes,
so.
can I have a roll call vote to actually, what we're gonna do is drop, what was it, drop up on the hill and amend the grant.
Commissioner Cantrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Grant,
Yes.
Woolsey,
Commissioner Woolsey.
yes.
Motion
Okay.
carries 3-1, or unanimously.
Okay, number 4 on the agenda, we're gonna go into executive session.
Tim, do we have an executive session? Are we gonna discuss anything?
Nothing?
Okay, we don't have to do anything.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Do we need to
I'm
do
gonna make-
anything on hiring committee? Anything on hiring?
No, because
We
it
can't
has to
do
be
that.
specific to this type of meeting, or else it'll be out
It
of compliance
says,
with
it
FOIA.
it says that. Ms. Clifford, it says that on the bottom.
Nothing, we don't have any.
They don't have anything to update yet
Okay,
because
that's
Kathy
fine.
just got back and y'all, gonna wheel through those 10 or 12 resumes.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Roll
I'll-
call vote?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you. Did Mr. George leave? I have his,
That was fast. Somewhere to be.
He may have just went to the restroom.
That, I need to get